I'd like to call Barbara Clarke.
Hey, take your name for them. Yeah, we'll do our photo. Take your name.
I've known Barbara for a number of years, and I have such deep admiration for her, so it's wonderful to be able to present this. Barbara, you're a social entrepreneur, financial analyst, and strategic planner, and you've applied these skills to your volunteerism at Tufts with wonderful and lasting results. You were the youngest person to assume the presidency of the Tufts Alumni Association. Under your leadership, Tufts alumni partnered with the Office of Alumni Relations to initiate the highly successful Back to the Hill Young Alumni Reunion Weekend, now a tradition in its 7th year. You supported the strengthening of many shared interest groups and helped get the Social Impact Network off the ground. You introduced webcam technology to council meetings to offer a better participation experience for members attending remotely, and you were responsible for updating the council's budgeting process and financial controls. You are a member of the Tufts Presidential Search Committee that brought Anthony Monaco to Tufts, and you traveled the globe with him, introducing him to the alumni. You also traveled extensively and spoke to large groups of alumni on behalf of the university. Your service to Tufts spans many years. You've served on trustee committees. You're a former president of the Association of Tufts Alumni. You've served on your class reunion committee and chaired several council committees, including the finance committee. You've been committed to mentoring and training our younger alumni and finding ways to involve them in the work of the council. Your efforts help to establish programs to increase engagement of alumni in their first 10 years after graduation. And you have advised and supported several student groups. We're proud of the outstanding volunteer service you've given to many other organizations in the areas of education, entrepreneurship, advancement of women, and grieving children and families. Barbara, you've given a new definition to the word engagement. The Tufts University Alumni Association salutes you and is proud to bestow upon you a 2016 Distinguished Service Award.
Thanks. It's so great to be here with so many awesome jumbos. And it's funny because before I became president, everyone warned me that being president of the Alumni Association was such a thankless job, and I hope nobody said that to you. I know I never said that to you. Challenging, yes, but thankless, never. It was so great. So to get this honor sort of is like the cherry on top, because it's always been my great honor to give back to the institution that shaped my worldview. So I'd like to use my little moment in the spotlight just to sort of highlight some specific elements of my experience with Tufts. And it sparked some things in me that's been a motivator throughout my life, because I think sometimes when you're the president of the Alumni Association, people actually don't really know who you are and what you do. So because it's really important to know that my Tufts experience, both good and bad, made me. So I arrived at Tufts in the fall of 1984. It's awesome to have anything in my sort of award say youngest. I was young, being youngest president. But anyways, so I arrived at Tufts in the fall of '84, and Dan Ungen, who was the head of the economics department, taught the intro freshman class for macroeconomics. And he taught a class that was a breakdown of the Reaganomics. And when he did that, I was like, that's my people. That's the lens through which I analyze things. And let's be clear, I'm talking economics, not Reaganomics, okay? And so from that point on, I just took every economics class that interested me way beyond what I needed to do to get my major and to graduate. And I graduated with honors with a degree in quantitative economics, which was a pretty challenging major. But after graduation, I ended up working in the office of the construction company where I'd worked the previous summer. I couldn't figure out how to make that leap forward despite all that I knew, and I really tried. But back in the 80s, the world revolved around who you knew, and probably more importantly, who your parents knew, and not so subtly, who wanted to know you. And so that meant for most of us, people like me, nobody knew us or wanted to know us. And I know my experience was not unique. So things changed for me after grad school, and I got a job in the economics practice at KPMG in Washington, D.C., and I got that actually through a connection through my grad school. Off I go to D.C., and in quick succession, I became the youngest person promoted to manager and senior manager, and so forth. And then the whole time, I built this massive international network of professionals. I was intent on building my own professional network. And then around my 10th reunion, I connected back with Tufts, and I started adding all these alumni, so many of you are here tonight, to that great network that I was growing. And it obviously continues to grow to this day. Even just yesterday, I was at a thing in Roxbury and met a jumbo. But I always remember what it was like to graduate, be very well educated, but totally unknown. And again, having this feeling that lots of people didn't want to know you. So I always use my network to connect people to one another, especially people who otherwise wouldn't be connected. So part of my underlying theme as president of Tufts Alumni was to make sure that we heard from different voices and we increased the diversity of the council. So the council looked more and more like the students that we were representing. And that's the theme of my involvement, making connections and listening to other voices. So now I've turned my professional attention to the innovation economy, as I call it. It's the fast-paced world of startups and entrepreneurship. And in the innovation economy, the fuel that launched successful companies like Apple, Google, and Facebook is venture capital. But venture capital is broken. It's trapped in an old who do you know mindset, and more importantly, the who wants to know you mindset. And I was not willing to go back to the 80s and 90s, and I don't have to. So just as background, venture capital invests 95% of its capital in companies led by men, mostly white men. It invests 5% of its capital in companies led by black men, Latino men, and then women. Statistically, venture capital doesn't invest any money in companies led by black women. And I just don't believe that black men, Latino men, and women of all colors only have like 5% of the good ideas out there in the world. No. So how do really smart, talented people connect to a system like that that's so broken? You have to remake the system. So now I'm part of the leadership of a network of men and women of all colors. I have lots of white men with me, who are changing the innovation economy, make it inclusive. We listen to different voices. We're no charity either. I am out to make money, for sure. And we make money investing in great companies. We invest in companies that would not exist if it weren't for the capital that we're deploying. And these innovative companies have women and people of color at the helm. Companies like the medical device maker that have invented a new way to deliver chemotherapy to people with pancreatic cancer. It's being used right now in the United States. Or we invest in big data companies because half of all data scientists are women. And then we, software, energy, yada, yada. And I even have a chocolate company because, hey, chocolate. So I bring this up at a time when I'm getting this award from Tufts because Tufts made me. The best parts of my Tufts experience, the fantastic courses, the inspiring faculty that I got. I have my great love for economics, my nerdy great love for economics, and the way I see the world. The delightful alumni, so many of you are here tonight, far and wide, who are now my friends. It's an integral part of me. But the worst part is also central to who I am. I won't forget that realization that simply being really smart is not enough to make it in this world. All those elements come together, and it's fuel for me and the work I do every day. So that's why it's always an honor for me to serve the institution that shaped me. So thanks so much for giving me this honor.